We are 2 weeks into the Broncos 2024 season, and as we collect more data points on this team, I feel like we can go through some of the early winners and losers for what's been a very disappointing start to the season, 0-2, and very little optimism overall from the fan base that they're about to turn this thing around. Now, before we look at our first winner and loser, I was looking over the YouTube analytics for the month of September, and the Chiefs report is kicking our ass in likes. So make sure to like today's video, and also like all of our videos moving forward. If you like the content we put out, it greatly helps the channel grow. Now, our first loser, it's got to be Bo Nix. I understand that no one wants to hear this, and everyone wants to be told good news about the young rookie quarterback that's supposed to be the next franchise quarterback and supposed to bring the end of the quarterback carousel since Peyton Manning retired. But I don't think that I would be being honest with you guys if I pretended that Bo Nix just flat out has not been a loser so far through 2 weeks. Now, he has not been good. Let's just take the tough pill and swallow it. Bo Nix, first 2 starts were bad. But that's all they are right now. First 2 starts. He's a rookie. He doesn't have a great surrounding cast. He doesn't have a Pro Bowl wide receiver waiting for him. He doesn't have a top 3 offensive line, but he also doesn't have a bottom 3 offensive line. He also has some good established receivers like Courtland Sutton and Josh Reynolds. So let's not go polar extreme one way or the other. But the reality is, Bo Nix through 2 games has not been good. Okay? Hopefully he can turn things around. Hopefully Sean Payton can kind of simplify things a little bit offensively. But the guy we saw in the preseason is not here right now, which is why in the preseason, like a lot of you, I definitely got caught up in the Bo Nix hype and whatnot. But it was also important to remember he was throwing against 3rd and 4th stringers that are no longer on the field. But the good news is, Bo Nix is a rookie. So no, I am not declaring that he cannot be a good quarterback based on what we have seen through 2 games. But based on what we have seen through 2 games, he has not been very good. To get into specifics here, downfield passing, any pass beyond 5 yards has been a little bit of a crapshoot. If you remove that one trick play, which, hey, great execution, great play call, there is nothing good coming down the field. Just 4 interceptions and no touchdowns. So the decision-making and the downfield passing particularly were things that I was worried about going into the draft surrounding Bo Nix because we didn't see a lot of that in Oregon, and that is kind of showing right now that Bo Nix just does not have that it factor when it comes to making splash throws down the field. He is looking like a bad game manager. So hopefully as the season progresses, he gets more experience and maybe the offense and the play calling kind of changes to lean into his strengths a little bit more, which we saw more of from week 1 to week 2. I felt like we can get better play from 10. But right now, I got to put him down as a loser. First winner. Let's get some good news going here. How about defensive end Zach Allen? Last year, Denver signed him from the Cardinals, 3-year, $45 million contract in free agency. And Zach Allen so far, I think has been one of the better players on this team. There's not a whole lot of winners so far for an 0-2 ball club, but I'm going to put Allen in that category. Just 6 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and 1 sack. But something that's really jumped out to me in a positive way regarding Zach Allen is the availability. The guy has played 95% of the snaps on defense so far. Last year, he played 81%. To me, this speaks to a lot of work put in the offseason to make sure his conditioning is up, his stamina is up, and he can be on the field as much as possible. Because defensive snaps is something that kind of gets lost in the shuffle. There are so many great players that don't play all the game, right? Unlike your quarterback and most of your wide receivers who are on the field for much of the game. A lot of your defensive superstars play 75, 80% of snaps. But Zach Allen, nearly out there 100% of the time. So overall, I'm encouraged by what I've seen out of Allen. He's looking like a leader on the defensive line, which last year wasn't one of the best run-stopping units, and it's been better this year, mostly because they didn't give up a 70-point burger to the that was week 3, so hopefully I don't curse that right now. But overall, I like what I've seen out of Allen. Now, I also like what I see from Factor, our proud sponsor today. Fuel up with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals in time for the upcoming rest of the fall thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. With 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week, you'll always have new flavors to explore. Keep kitchen time to a minimum. Factor meals are ready in 2 minutes. No shopping, prepping, cooking, or cleaning up. Head to factormeals.com/BroncosChat50 and use code BroncosChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code BroncosChat50 at factormeals.com/BroncosChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Second loser, Javonte Williams. This one's very disappointing. I had high hopes and I had big expectations for Williams going into the year, and it's just been a flat-out disaster. I mean, I think you can argue that he is the worst running back in the NFL right now. Worst starting running back, at least. 19 carries for 40 yards. I mean, you can give it to him on first, second, third, and fourth down, and you still don't get the first down. It's been that bad for Pookie. And I think a lot of it goes back to the injury. And I thought 2 years removed that we would get a more pre-injury version of Javonte Williams, who was averaging nearly 4.5 yards a carry. Instead, he's a whole yard off of that mark since the major knee injury he suffered in October 22 in Las Vegas. It is time to face the music and turn to Jaleel McLaughlin. Not that highlight reel Jaleel has been lighting the world on fire in the first 2 weeks. He's also been kind of disappointing and bad, but I think it's time to give Jaleel more of a runway and more opportunities, more touches, more carries, more of everything, because it's just not working with 33. So, who do you think should start this upcoming Sunday in Tampa Bay? Who do you want to see get majority of the workload? Javonte Williams or Jaleel McLaughlin? I'm going with 38. I was a big believer in Javonte going into the season, but right now you are just making the same mistake over and over again, which is expecting a different result from a Javonte Williams run. It's going to be 2 yards. I mean, that's it. Second winner. Usually, by the way, I do 3 winners and 2 losers. When you're 0-2, you get 3 losers and 2 winners. I'm going to go with Jonathan Cooper, though. I think that Cooper, especially in week 1 against the Seahawks, showed us that he can be more than just like some average B-tier pass rusher. Like, through 2 games so far, the guy's got 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 11 tackles. He has been this team's best pass rusher. And with Baron Browning dealing with a foot injury right now, which could cause him to miss some time, I'm really excited about what Cooper can do as he kind of takes over as this team's number 1 pass rusher. Jonathan Cooper is going into the final year, or in the final year, I should say, of his contract. And I think he could be playing himself into a nice contract extension. Sorry about the voice, by the way. The watch parties do that to me. But anywho, Cooper, I think, has a good shot if he continues to play at this level to cash in a nice midseason extension. Maybe he decides to wait until March and bet on himself a little bit, hope he doesn't get injured and get more money in free agency, potentially elsewhere. But I wouldn't be surprised if November rolls around and the Denver Broncos and Jonathan Cooper agree to like a 3-year, $45 million extension. Third and final loser, and potentially the biggest one of them all, I'm not trying to put them in any particular order, it's got to be Sean Payton. Let's have a conversation about head coach Sean Payton. I have a couple of grievances. The onside kick decision, or the lack thereof. Let's go through the details here. Denver is down by 7. They just kicked a field goal. Coming out of the 2-minute warning, they have 1 timeout, and Sean Payton decides to kick it deep and best case scenario, get the ball back with 10 to 15 seconds. And he pointed to the Steelers' second play on that offensive series, going for like 6 or 7 seconds as a reason as to why his decision backfired. Yeah, that's about the average play length. You're telling me that if the play went over 4 seconds, your decision was doomed? That you were going to put your entire fate into the Steelers' offense, trying to do you a solid and have a quick 3-4 second play to preserve 2 to 3 seconds for your offense? This made no sense in the moment. It made no sense when he explained it afterwards. The only sense I can make is he thought he had more than 1 timeout. And so he was going to bet on his defense, which, hey, defense had done a good job that day, and the Steelers were not lighting the world on fire offensively, but it just made zero sense, and it screamed like Nathaniel Hackett type of move. And I don't want to see that from a highly touted head coach like Sean Payton. Second grievance, the dated play calling. It doesn't seem like his run game has been updated to 2024. Like, look at the creative things that the Shanahan tree are doing in San Francisco and in Miami and in Houston and really across the league. And then you look at Denver's run game, and it's no wonder that Javonte Williams, Jaleel, McLaughlin, the whole bunch are suffering. Like, there's just nothing new, nothing fresh, nothing creative. And also, he's got this extremely long list of plays on his play sheet for a rookie quarterback. I don't feel like that's the best combination. You got a guy making his first and then second NFL start, and it looks like he's using the same play sheet that he used for 15-year vet Drew Brees. Those two are not on the same field. Simplify it down here. Like, don't put too much on Bo Nix's plate. He's already struggling enough as it is. And then speaking of Bo Nix, this one I'm not going to plant my flag down for, but the coddling of Bo Nix is definitely a choice. Now, on one hand, I understand that you want to stick up for your rookie quarterback. You don't want to throw him under the bus. You want to put him in a good environment. We hear all the time about when rookie quarterbacks or young quarterbacks don't work out, so much of the blame goes to everything around them, like Bryce Young right now in Carolina. But to me, some of the coddling has gone a little bit too far. Sean Payton, after Bo Nix's first interception, the red zone one against the Steelers, here's what he said about it to the media after the game. We had a mistake in the route too, so there are some dirty hands on that play. Listen, guys, I'm not going to try and pretend that I know more about route running than Sean Payton, but just look at the film here. Bad route or not, that should not have been thrown. There is a safety lurking and also moving towards the receiver who is moving towards the safety. With every millisecond that passes, the two get closer, and the easier it is for that safety to make the interception. So bad route or not, you're going to throw your receiver under the bus? I understand you don't want to go out in front of the media and say, yeah, Bo Nix really sucked on that play. That's not going to really inspire a lot of confidence. But I kind of wonder how this is going to go over with the rest of the locker if the message is, it's not Bo's fault, it's people around him. Which, by the way, is what Sean Payton said after week 1. We just got to be better around him. And that's my impression from just watching it without looking at the tape. I understand you want to improve and boost the confidence of your rookie quarterback, but to come out and start pointing fingers elsewhere, are we watching different games? I mean, really, like, is Sean Payton seeing Bo Nix through a whole different lens than everyone else? It's like a 180 from last year, by the way, when Sean Payton never had an issue with pointing at Russell Wilson to blame. This year, the quarterback, the rookie that he drafted, can do no wrong, it looks like, through the first 2 weeks. Some subtle things for improvement, but every single time there's something that Bo did wrong, there's 2 other things that everyone else did wrong around Bo. At some point, we got to call a spade here. Bo was not good the first 2 weeks. The wide receivers were not good. The running backs weren't good. No one's been good. But that doesn't mean that because the running backs weren't good, that's an excuse for Bo not playing well. The running backs have nothing to do with Bo Nix throwing 4 bad interceptions. We'll call it 3, the last one being in garbage time against the Steelers. 3 bad interceptions. How is that on the ground game? Sure, there may not be great open pockets and windows to throw to, but then don't make that decision, right? Throw it out of bounds. Live to see another down. Don't turn it over. So the coddling of Bo Nix makes me wonder how the rest of this locker room is going to respond and handle if every single time Bo makes a mistake, Sean Payton goes in front of the media and says, yeah, bad route by the receiver on that one. We don't have much of a ground game going. Offensive line's not doing their job. After a little while, it would piss me off. I think it piss anyone off in any profession. If some new guy that just came out of college came to work at your office and your boss kept giving them excuses every time they made a mistake, filling out a form or doing whatever you do at your place of work, it would tick me off for sure. All right, before we get on out of here, what's your confidence level in Sean Payton? And also, The Blue and Orange Club, I want to show some love following our Week 2 watch party. Slap yourself. I don't give a buck with a legendary performance. John Emery, thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. We're going to sign off, and we're going to catch up with you all later.